Here we go. Mike, what's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Glad to be back.
Well,
ready to rock.
Here we are, episode 2, this Friday afternoon. And we got a lot to cover today. I hope you're ready. This might be one of our longer episodes.
Hey, I'm ready to rock and roll, my man. Let's get her going.
All right. So I don't know if you heard, but Tom Cruise went on a COVID rant this week.
Yes, I did.
On the set of Mission Impossible 7. Did you know there were 6 other Mission Impossibles?
Honestly, I did.
You did? You've seen every one of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ving Rhames is a character in it. He's got a and then the dude.
He's in 7?
I don't know if he's in. He should be. He's been in all the others.
Oh wait, is Ving Rhames alive?
Absolutely, he does the Arby's commercials.
Oh my bad.
Yeah, we got the meats. Come on, man.
Oh, that's Ving Rhames?
Absolutely.
We got the meats as Ving Rhames?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh, sorry.
It was a COVID rant, right? And
went off.
Yeah, basically told some guys that were working on the set that they shouldn't be standing so close to each other. Basically follow COVID protocols because the entire industry has been shut down. And he doesn't want their set to be shut down. What do you think? I mean, honestly, applaud Tom Cruise.
I had no problem with it.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Jones I saw on Twitter, you shouldn't talk to people that way. Well, come on, let's be realistic.
Well, this is in the aftermath of what Ellen did on her show. So, maybe that's why people are overreacting. But, I think his intentions were good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some of the things he said, people's lives depend on this. Their college educations, getting groceries, paying their rent. You guys aren't putting your mask on. You're not doing social distancing. If it happens again, you're gone. I'll find somebody else. I don't have a problem with it. If you've been warned or told several times over and over, and you're an adult and you act like a child, there's where I would differ with Matt Jones. Sometimes I had to yell at my children when I wouldn't have yelled at my wife.
Right.
Probably yelled at her too much too, but you yell at your children when you don't yell at an adult because you tell your children 5 times to pick up the Legos and they don't on that 5th time. Now you're mad.
Yep.
It's the same situation. If you're an adult, you act like a child, you're going to get yelled at.
Yeah. So
how hard is it?
I read a little bit into this thing, and basically he was yelling at 2 individuals that were standing too close to each other, looking at a computer, which, okay, maybe that's not so bad, but the overall message I felt was spot on. Like, don't mess this up for everybody in the industry right now. We're struggling.
Right, when it's not hard
Tom
to
Cruise
do.
obviously isn't struggling, but a lot of people have lost their jobs.
But he's the producer on that show too, or that movie, not just the star.
Right.
And there's executive producers and people that work under him. Obviously, if he says, let's go, they're going to go because it's Tom Cruise.
He's probably feeling pressure from the Scientologists.
Probably there's a good chance.
So speaking of movies, I saw my good friend Andrew Wilson. Grew up with Andrew, played baseball with him. He posted his top 10 Christmas movies.
Oh,
so
nice.
Got me thinking, what are some of the top Christmas movies that each of us like? My top 5, and you don't have to give a top 5. You can just discuss whatever you want. But me and my family, we love the Home Alone movies. Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2.
Loves the Home Alone.
So those are the top 2 for me. Third, though, Trading Places, which I'd forgotten a little bit about, really. But
Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Jimmy
oh my gosh, such a good movie and funny.
Don Ameche.
Don Ameche.
Yeah, Don Ameche.
Friday After Next is one of my favorites.
I guess you could. Yeah, you had to throw that in there.
Craig and Day Day. It takes place Christmas. There's a Santa Claus robbing people. And a Christmas Vacation, obviously, got to be in my top 5.
Yeah, I like that one. For me, I'm a little old school.
Okay.
I do like Miracle on 34th Street. I'll sit down and watch it. It's,
Love it.
Die Hard. That's probably about
everybody
the only.
says that too.
And that's the only time of the year I watch it. It truly is. And I don't watch any of the other Die Hards, but for some reason I do watch that one.
Yeah.
I do like some of the ones you mentioned there. The Ice Cube and Day Day, or, that Friday
After Next.
Obviously, that's a classic. Home Alone is a movie that I can watch anytime. Macaulay Culkin was he was the man when
Yeah,
he was a dude. He was hilarious in those roles. Joe Pesci was hilarious in that. So I can watch that pretty much. And that to me, even though it's very much Christmassy themed, I don't think of that for whatever reason as a Christmas movie. But then as opposed, you watch Die Hard, it's like, come on, really, dude? It's not a Christmas movie. No, it's killing people.
I mean, it takes place during Christmas.
Now, here's my thing, though. And this is you talking about something you and your family like to watch. Now, me and the boys every year, and they stopped doing it last year, and we were very disappointed, was AMC always ran Christmas with the Duke.
Okay.
And ran John Wayne movies 24 hours the whole time. So
my grandfather loved John Wayne
Big
movies.
Jake, Chisholm, Sons of Katie Elder, Rio Lobo, the Cowboys Undefeated.
Wow.
I mean, the Searchers, and my boys would be, oh, yeah, I know you're loving them. But what was cool, though, is the boys got into watching them. So our Christmas is NBA basketball games, open up presents, watch a couple John Wayne movies, finish up with the NBA, and sit and chill. So Christmas movies to me includes the Duke.
Okay, cool.
Now, another one, though.
Okay.
And I didn't even really like the ones after.
Uh-huh.
And I'm a Tim Allen fan.
Okay.
I love his series, The Santa Claus. I think he's excellent in that role.
It's funny you mentioned your boy Tim Allen.
Uh-oh.
Because I did a little bit of research this week on something that is notable to me about Tim Allen. By the way, birth name, Timothy Dick. Tim Dick. Birth name, Tim Dick.
It's not Richard or it's Dick?
Timothy Dick.
Why would you do that to your child?
Well, no. That's his last name.
Oh.
Timothy Dick.
Oh, okay.
So he got rid of the last name, just went with Tim Allen.
Okay.
Anyway, he moved to Michigan in high school with his family. And he starts actually selling cocaine.
In high school?
Actually, he was 20 years old.
Okay, so out of high school.
It's unclear when he started, but it had to have been pretty early, considering he got caught at 20 years old with more than 650 grams of cocaine, 1.4 pounds.
That's
busted.
A lot, I think, right?
Yeah. So the incident, the incident is kind of crazy here. So it not only did he get caught with this, but he was set up by a undercover cop to get caught. So they were following him around for a while he was doing this, and they're trying to get bigger fish. So they get him to move this 1.5 pounds of cocaine. They bust him. And at the time, unfortunate timing, Michigan had just passed a law that tied a life sentence to any conviction of selling or distributing 650 grams or more cocaine.
Oh my gosh.
So Tim Allen's facing a life sentence at 20 years old for selling cocaine. A book about Tim Allen's life, the author pointed out that he was set up. So, yeah, it may be unclear that he was actually set up, but it seems to check out. So he's facing a life sentence. So what's Tim Allen do? He snitches, dude. He became a snitch. He pleads guilty. And he opted to provide names of other dealers in exchange for a lighter sentence.
Wow.
Yeah.
This
is a quote from this person's biography of Tim Allen. He helped authorities indict 20 people in drug trade and resulted in the conviction and sentencing of 4 major drug dealers. Yeah. So he rolled on everybody in Michigan, Kalamazoo. You can look up his mugshot. It's pretty funny.
Kalamazoo. I didn't know that was a big drug.
He actually did serve 2 years and 4 months. 2 years and 4 months in prison, which kind of crazy.
Like prison.
Yeah, dude.
Dang.
Tim Allen spent some time in the joint, man.
in the big house.
Yeah, in the big house. So
maybe that's where he got his sense of humor.
Well, actually, in the biography, he says he tells the author, and the author tells the story of how Tim Allen says that he kind of developed his style of comedy while he was in prison.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. So, yeah, cool little story from Tim Dick.
That's the kind of stuff you're going to get every week.
That's right. So that reminds me, hit this comment section if you're listening. Hit
Absolutely.
this comment section here on the side. Soon, hopefully, we'll have some capability to take some phone calls later. We don't have that capability right now, but
we are working on it.
We are working on it. There's some technical difficulties involving the phone number, which is actually my work phone number because we are at my workplace filming this.
But it's nice here. We got a really nice conference room.
Yeah.
Coffee, water, donuts.
I mean, it's not a bad setup.
Leo, Cat, Pete.
So, first sports topic here.
Yes, sir.
Liam Cohen hired as the offensive coordinator for the Kentucky Wildcats
From the
football program.
Rams. Yeah.
From the Rams.
The big thing I liked about it, and I haven't really looked into it much, but I saw one quote where he said that it would take a lot for him to leave the Rams organization, and he looked now. And I know some of that's cliche.
Yeah.
You're going to say that to make it look great. Yeah. But what I did read from him, and I saw some, NFL guys who have said, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's straightforward. Yeah. I've seen kind of make like a little bit of a genius word out there offensively thrown around.
Boy genius.
He's young and energetic and seems to be passionate. And if you think UK is that kind of step for you, then hey, I'm all for it. Okay. It couldn't be much worse than Eddie Grant. And and I'm one of those, and I know my Twitter and everything might say a little bit different. Go back and look. I never call for anybody to get fired. I lived through it with my father being a high school coach. Right. And
it's a bad situation.
And it is, because it's more than just the coach, because I think about it from the family standpoint.
Yeah, you had to move your entire family.
I did 5 or 6 times, and not my dad was only fired once, but it was terrible. We moved because he wanted to advance in his career and things of that nature. But the one time he was fired still resonates with me. I'm 47 years old. It happened when I was 16, 15 years old, and I still think about it. So from that standpoint, I have a hard time saying somebody should be fired.
Shout out Big Mike, by the way.
Hey, yeah. I hope you're doing well, Coach, and Dad, I love you, and we'll see you soon, hopefully over the holidays. But so I'm really excited about Liam. The bigger thing I'm excited about is because you already had a great offensive line. You had a good offensive line coach with Slarm, and you replaced him with a guy who's known in the business to be, a top-notch offensive line coach. So you're not going to have any kind of fall off there. Right. I think that's a big hire as well.
It was a big hire. The offensive coordinator job obviously was the hot topic, though.
Oh, and for sure.
A little bit of background for Liam Cohen, okay? He played quarterback at UMass. First, he was the high school player of the year as a quarterback in Rhode Island.
Nice.
He played – quarterback at UMass, was a 4-year starter at UMass, and they had some success there. But his coaching background starts in 2010 with Brown University, Ivy League school. What's up, Bryson? Bryson Drake Blevins says hi.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining us.
So Liam Cohen, Brown University in 2010 as the quarterback coach. He moves on to Rhode Island University in 2011 as the quarterback coach. Goes back to Brown in the Ivy League, 2012 and 2013 quarterback coach, and then quarterback coach at UMass, his alma mater.
Nice.
2014, 2015.
Always good to return home.
So offensive coordinator job, though, a little bit different than quarterback coach.
Absolutely.
So he becomes offensive coordinator at Maine University in 2016. He coaches there 2 years. I did a little research on the 2016 and 17 Maine. I don't even remember their mascot. We'll call them the Bulldogs. I'm just kidding. So
Maine Bulldogs.
This year at UK, Eddie Grant, passing yards per game, 124 yards per game.
This was with Eddie Grant.
With Eddie Grant. Okay. 22 attempts per game.
Okay.
So not a lot.
No.
And we're trying to go take that next step, be a more passing-friendly offense, right? Maine, they averaged in 2016 217 yards per game. So that is an improvement, but honestly, I would have liked to have seen more.
Yeah.
So 29 attempts per game.
Only 7 more attempts.
Only 7 more.
But in those 7 attempts, you did gain a lot more
yards. So it is downfield more than what we're going to be used
7
to.
attempts over 100. You're definitely 13.
Maine was 6-5 that year.
Okay. Now are they Division?
No, they were Division 2.
Okay.
They played
1AA. I guess they
don't 1AA. They played Villanova.
Okay. James Madison plays.
Yeah. So, I didn't see the stats that I really wanted to see. Now, he is coming from the Rams, which we all know is a high-powered, down the field offense.
Well, for most people it is. Seems like kind of Zach Taylor left.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So, we as Bengals fans, we've seen 2 years of Zach Taylor, the boy genius from Sean McVay's coaching tree, and it has not been pretty.
No.
Joe Burrow kind of saved him for a little while.
I mean, and that's if you look at Joe Burrow and don't think he is a generational type talent.
He was throwing dimes, dude. He was throwing dimes.
When people talk about Herbert going off last night, it just makes me sick. I mean, I know it is. What have you done for me lately? Business, and Burrow's been out now. What, 3 or 4 weeks?
Well,
and Herbert's good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But let's not forget Joey did things that's unheard of. The number of Heisman votes, touchdowns and interceptions. LSU went 15-0. We're going to set all kinds of records for the Bengals.
I can't think of one person that would debate they'd rather have Justin Herbert than Joe Burrow.
I would hope not.
I can't imagine that. I like what I see from Justin Herbert. He's probably the offensive rookie of the year.
Should be.
He and Justin Jefferson probably 1 and 2 there.
And speaking of Justin Jefferson, Griffin, I know you're watching. Thanks for dropping Justin Jefferson in week 4, the FFL.
Picked him up. What?
Yes. And you know how I love to give him hell anyway. Picked him up, and he has went plumb off since then. So thanks, bud.
So, yeah. If you're a Bengals fan like we are, and you're UK football fans like we are,
they tie together.
They kind of tied together with this hire, and I don't know if it's in a good way. Let's hope Liam Cohen is way better than Zach Taylor. Is the jury still out on Zach Taylor?
No, I don't think so, and here's why.
Okay.
I think Zach Taylor can be a great offensive coordinator, maybe.
I don't know.
I think it's too much for him to be in charge of the entire program, franchise, whatever. Especially when you're kind of weak at your you don't really have a GM. Duke Tobin's just kind of, there.
Right.
Katie is a lot better than Mike, but Katie's kind of fallen back a little bit lately anyway with what her business dealings. Again, I don't like to fire people, but man, I think it would be the perfect time with Joey coming back from being injured to bring in somebody new, an offensive-minded type guy. I mean, could you imagine Joey Burrow with those offensive weapons that he already has with like an Eric Bieniemy type offense?
Well, that was what I was going to say. So I would say 5-6 weeks ago, I said, look, I've seen enough from Zach Taylor. I know what Zach Taylor is all about. If we were to fire Zach Taylor now, which this was 5 weeks ago,
right,
and just make it obvious, Eric Bieniemy is the dude we want. Eric Bieniemy is the guy we're going to pursue.
Former Bengal.
I don't know if he has a relationship with Mike or Katie. I don't know.
Well, I do know. I did read some that when he was here, he was very tied to the community. He had a lot of things that went.
Right.
He was with.
He's on a first name basis. He's on a first name basis with a lot of people in the Bengals beat writing world. He's on a first name basis with a lot of people in the organization.
I mean, I don't know. Last time he was here, that I think we zeroed in on Zach Taylor. So I mean, I know Bieniemy interviewed, but it seemed like after an interview,
it was the whole Sean McVay is hot thing.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go ahead and get Sean McVay's understudy. Like Sean McVay was good, but dang,
what you kind of spoke of though, he went from a quarterback's coach. He wasn't even an offensive coordinator,
right?
At the Rams, excuse me.
Too big of a leap.
Yeah, too big of a leap. I mean, if he had been the offensive coordinator for the Rams, that they went to the Super Bowl and he was that dude, hey, I'm all for it. Bring him in. But it's kind of like going from, and I think it's a big step, going from a middle school basketball coach to the head coach of your, whatever it's at.
Yeah,
Augusta, Mason County, Lexington Catholic, Boone County, wherever.
Right.
It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
It's you're in charge of your schedule. You got to get referees. You got to make sure, there's boom, boom, boom. And I know it's on a completely different, lower scale, but we had a guy who went from the quarterback's coach who had Sean McVay
to the head coach.
To the head coach. And this needed to be, you have a chance now, I think, that should have been the knockout home run hire.
Yep.
After Marvin Marvin got way too much.
Whiffed, man.
They whiffed.
They whiffed. So I don't know if Zach Taylor's going to be around. It sure seems right now with the current climate of Bengals football that he's going to be around next year. Would
it surprise you if they fired him? Wouldn't that surprise you?
It would shock the heck out of me.
Yeah, that's not their MO.
No, Marvin Lewis was here too long. Like, Marvin Lewis did a great job, turned our franchise around, but probably stuck around 2, maybe 3 seasons a little too long.
The season after the whole meltdown against the Steelers should have been when he left.
Yeah.
Because the meltdown really, I know he gets a bad rap when they say, but at the end of the day, these are still adults who are making decisions on the field.
Right.
I don't know what an adult man is supposed to do when another adult man is on the field.
Right.
In the action. I know there's lots of times that I wish I would have been able to stop for a second and go, wish I hadn't done that. When I was coaching, man, I sure would have got that technical, or wish I hadn't done this,
Yeah, we've all been there. So we got to move on. It was the Bengals talk has got to stop now because it's been such a bad year.
It's nauseous.
Yeah, I can't even discuss how disgusting the
one last thing on the Bengals,
the Joe Burrow thing.
And I watch them no matter what. We could be getting beat for it. But I told a buddy of mine the other day, I wish they would have flexed him out of Monday night.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because the rest of the nation is going to see just how truly bad we are. Now, when I say that, I don't think that roster is devoid of talent by any means. But that's for another discussion.
The places that they are, where they have lack of talent, are it's just glaring.
Yeah, right.
The offensive line
and linebackers
are I don't want to say the linebackers yet because I do like the 2 draft picks.
I like Logan Wilson.
Can't
think of that.
And the other dude from Appalachian State, he's played okay. But offensive line, obviously, and it is maddening that you draft your franchise quarterback knowing there's no miss on Joe Burrow. There's no miss. It's not going to be a miss. He's going to be here for as long as he wants. The very first thing you got to do is not Andrew Luck this dude.
Yeah. That's good.
Get a line in front of him. Well, anyway.
Could maybe, though. Let's move on.
Let's move on. So our next topic, some COVID protocols in sports that you may want to think they could stick around. The first that I have, and I want your opinion on this.
Okay.
This is a little different, and I think it should stick around. I really like it. The NBA benches, how they're set up. What do you think?
I'm a little tired on that.
Okay.
And before I spoke to my dad, who obviously is old school.
Yeah.
And
I'm not willing to say this is how the benches should be for college basketball and high school basketball or anything like that.
NBA, I'm completely fine with the NBA. Yes.
I like the little personal space for the NBA players. They have their own drinks, their own towels. I think it's a pretty cool setup.
Here's why I don't like it for college and high school.
Okay.
Because I think in those 2 areas, it's more of a teaching thing.
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm Anthony Davis, now I'm not saying that Frank Vogel and who's the guy, the assistant coach there, and everybody loves him. Anyway, that those guys don't do their job and they go out and practice and help those guys.
Right.
But when Anthony Davis comes out of the game and he's drinking water, Frank's not in his ear going, hey, man, now if you would go down and set this pick this way.
Yeah.
Okay. In high school, whether I'm the assistant coach or whatever.
The teaching is so essential.
Yeah, being able to, and if you do pull a kid out for whatever, even if it's just to give him a break, it's still an opportunity to teach, especially now with this Kentucky team. I think they need to be closer.
Right.
Because I noticed the other night when Devin asked you went out of the game, not because maybe he wanted to, he sat down by the stanchion of the goal because there was nothing over here. Well, first off, dude, you're not playing. This guy's sitting right here next to Joel Justice.
Right.
Get up and move.
Yeah.
Okay. But I had an issue with the college and high school, and I've seen some colleges do it. Kentucky does it more than anybody.
Right.
And Rupp.
So the next one, I don't know how you feel about this. I like the NBA season beginning in mid to late December.
I do too. I always thought that it was way too early.
Yeah, well, I just don't think anybody is willing to give it a whole lot of attention
in November.
In the beginning of November with NFL football.
And last year was the first week of last week of October.
Right.
There was games
and
on
it has
Halloween
been
night.
A couple times.
I would be all for that because I'm like you. And me from a sports guy, and I can watch it all anyway. Right. But, there have been times where I've had to choose. Yeah. And I'm still giving my attention to football and college football and even if we were in a normal year, college basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, what Kentucky and Duke and Michigan State and Kansas played the first weekend in November last year.
Also, in terms of fantasy sports, you're in the middle of a fantasy football league in early November.
Oh, yeah.
About, the time the NBA starts, which is next week, the 22nd, fantasy football leagues are in their playoffs 2 more weeks at most.
Right.
So now the NBA can jump in.
We don't mess around. We got 3 more.
Now the NBA can jump more into that fantasy sports
and mainstream kind of catch that.
Because I don't think it's caught on as much as they want. I think it has in terms of daily fantasy, but still that's a lot to do.
I had a buddy one time tell me that he did not start following the NBA until after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like Christmas is when most
I'm
saying?
definitely watching those games. Yeah. It's kind of that kickoff.
That's when we start.
Yeah.
Okay, so coaches not wearing suits. What do you think about that? Because you're a sharp dressed individual.
Thank you. I appreciate
when
that.
you coached. I got to give you props. You were
not to blow my horn. Actually, was written up a couple times about
your dressing.
Yeah, and
they should call you Rant because you be dressing.
Hey, yeah, that's true. That's a good one. Oh man, I'm gonna say this. Me and Sam Ellsborn don't agree much on anything in life.
Okay.
Other than he knows.
Shout out Sam.
Yeah, he knows how hard nosed Griffin was when he played for him. We probably agree on that.
Yeah.
But I saw he had made a comment on Twitter that he was all for coaches continuing to wear the tie and the sport coat when they I didn't like coaching in a sport coat.
Yeah.
I kind of feel trapped. Right. I wore one to the gym.
Yeah, and then you took it off.
It was the first thing I took off.
Did you ever rip it off and throw it down?
Yeah, plenty
I'm
of
sure
times.
You did.
I asked JT Taylor, Kerry Lyle, those guys will tell you, John Chamberlain. But I was very superstitious.
Okay.
And one of the end of the years we were coaching, we had went on a 5-game winning streak, and we had went to Bergen, and I didn't wear a tie all the way to Bergen. I just wore coaches, polo, and we won down there. So the next game I wore a polo.
You're so superstitious.
Yeah, bad. So we won. I think it was actually 4 games, but here's what was crazy. Patrick was my assistant. He said, "We're getting ready to go in the district, man. I know you're going to, be all dressed up for the district." I said, "Dude, if we win this last regular season game, I'm wearing a polo. I'm wearing a polo to the. I might have walked in. We were still in Fleming County's district then.
Yeah.
And the last district we had, or the second to last, the second before they switched, we played at Fleming County. And my thought process was, if we win the last game of the year, I will wear a suit and tie to the gym when the girls go out to warm up. Because we didn't come back in. If you remember, we didn't come back in. That was our thing. Because when we went back in and came back out, we played like crap for the first quarter. Okay. So we didn't go back in the locker room.
All right.
So I was going to go back in the locker room and change. So then I thought I was kind of covering it all.
Yeah.
And we had losing the last game of the regular season. So it didn't matter. And I wore it. But I'm very superstitious. So I would probably still do it.
Okay.
Coach Cal needs help with his wardrobe now. If you watch, it's terrible. He needs to go back to the suit because he does no matching at all. I mean, he's got navy blue with royal, and it's terrible. And he's got the old Jim Harbaugh khaki pants.
Yeah.
He needs to stop. And it's really bad, Coach. Please stop.
I'm sure he's listening.
He is. He told me he was going to tune in. But so I would be for – I'm kind of the guy would say, yes, let's wear the suits.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, so the next one. The National League had no DH or had the DH this past the season, the COVID shortened 60-game season. Keep it?
Yes.
I say keep it too. And I don't know why, if you're a pitcher, and shout out Trevor Bauer, because his video blog is amazing.
Yes,
and he really showed how much training is involved for starting pitchers. And they don't have time to practice.
If they want to be as good as he is,
yeah,
they have no reason to be practicing bunting, hitting and running, any of that stuff. They shouldn't even be on the base paths.
I am absolutely appalled that Major League Baseball has not announced yet that the National League is bringing the DH. I just
should be universal.
It went really well. It went really well.
It did.
You saw guys like Trevor Bauer and Sonny Gray have unbelievable seasons, and they didn't have to hit.
And in a year where you're going to be, and I know we're not really back to normal, but moving forward, when you're going to have a spring training, and you're going to be able to get those at bats in, and you add that extra offensive weapon instead of guys who, I think if we'd had 162 games, you wouldn't have seen, Christian Yelich have the awful numbers that he had.
Right.
His numbers were terrible, but he played 60 games or whatever it was. It takes a while for these guys to get going. So you add that in a year where they can, love the Sixers hat, by the way.
Thank
I
you,
haven't seen that. I would be all for the universal DH.
Okay. Well, I am too. And I feel like it does favor the Reds a little bit. I mean, Jesse Winker is probably going to be a career DH soon. Yeah. If not now. So it kind of favors us, and maybe Aquino as well can do some DH.
I would hope so.
So the last one I liked, and I don't even know how they did this because I'm not an athletic director at a Division I college, but BYU and Coastal Carolina got together on a Thursday and played on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. Going forward, if there are two schools trying to get in that college football playoff, if the college football playoff doesn't change, which it should, that's another topic. If there are two schools in a non-Power 5 that want to get together and play, they should do that.
Oh, yeah.
Leave a week open, maybe. I don't know. Play 10 games.
Have a bye week and have like your regular bye week, and then have an open week. An open week. Yeah. Call it an open week. And you can feel that was a great game too.
Yeah,
me and Griffin and Garrett watched it. Great game. It was very good football. I've always been a fan of Coastal Carolina. I don't know. I can't even say what their mascot is, but I love the
Chanticleers.
Chanticleers. Okay.
I don't know. So I liked how they did that. I mean, if let's say BYU opens up the year with a non-conference game and beats a mid-level Pac-12 team, and then they run the table. Well, they're independent, so they run the table the rest of the way. They're now 10-0. They're 6 in the college football playoff rankings. 7th is a team like Cincinnati, who maybe scheduled a mid-level Big Ten school, beat them in non-conference, then ran the table in their conference. I think they should just make a week where, Cincinnati play BYU now. Get together and play. See if you can't sneak into the 4th spot.
I'd be
with that win.
Well, they got to change that. They got to get.
They got to get it. They got to get more than 4 teams.
I don't know if they can need more than 8.
This year has been
Trevor Maddich. You know who I'm talking about on ESPN?
Yeah,
love him. Love him. He's highly intelligent dude.
Okay.
He said he would go with 8. The 5 power conference champions are automatic.
Yeah,
and then he would fill the other 3 with
at-large bids.
He said you still may have, the double conferences because of how good the SEC and some of them are. And his comment is, if you want to be them, beat them. Kind of like Ric Flair, to be the man, beat the man. He said, I don't want to expand to 12 or 16 because then you're still going to have a first round matchup of Alabama against somebody who they're going to beat 50 points.
I want to see it.
See, I wouldn't.
I do.
But here's my argument when people say, well, we don't have to have the season end the first week of December and then not play any bowl games until the beginning of the third. That's the generic bowls, but the major New Year's Day bowls, we don't have to go a month.
Right.
Move all that up. And then on New Year's Day, have your championship. Don't wait 5 weeks and then say we got to play all the way through January.
Maybe we'll go over that in a future show because I think that's important. They've got to change that.
I agree.
All right, so we're now on to NBA predictions.
Ah, yes.
Let's start with the Eastern Conference. If you were going to say number 1 seed Eastern Conference playoffs, who do you have?
I don't think it'll be Brooklyn.
Okay.
Because I think it's going to take Brooklyn a little bit of time to kind of gel.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like maybe the first year with LeBron in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're going to be very good. But I think they're going to lose some games early. It's not going to allow them to be the 1 or 2 seed.
Okay.
So they're going to be somewhere between 3 and 5.
Who you got?
I like Miami.
Okay.
And here's why. Jimmy Butler is a straight-up dog.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands to be a dog.
Right.
Bam Adebayo, if people think that guy's going to stop working for 1 second because he got a max contract, his numbers are going to continue to rise. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands to be a dog. A lot of those guys on that team don't have to have the ball. Tyler Hero don't ever have to have the ball in his hands.
Right.
Other than, boom, let's go. I like them. I think that I don't know if they can be the number 1 seed, but I do think that they will come out. I'm picking them to come out of the East. But if I had to go number 1 seed right now, I'm going to pick Milwaukee as the number 1 seed.
Okay.
I think Miami will be the 2 seed. I think Milwaukee will again have a 1 regular season record and then choke in the second round of the playoffs.
So I'm going with Milwaukee as number 1 seed as well. And I love the addition of Drew Holiday.
I do too.
Now, this is why I like the addition of Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday in the 2 playoff seasons with the Pelicans was phenomenal as
when they swept the Blazers.
They swept the Blazers that year, and he was great in that series.
Him and
then they ran into the Warriors. The year before that, they had to play the Warriors. And the Golden State Warriors were not getting beat back then. So I feel like those teams are very underrated. Western Conference super.
Well, I think that's why AD gets a little bad. I think he did take that team to the playoffs. They ran into a buzzsaw
and they swept the Blazers. That was huge.
Yeah, it was.
So I love the addition of Drew Holiday. I think Giannis needs a guy that can get his own shot in the fourth quarter to win some playoff games. But regardless of the playoffs, they're probably going to have the best record in the Eastern Conference.
And one key thing on Drew Holiday, I think he's going to be able to also allow Chris Middleton to get open looks in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And now Chris Middleton can maybe slide into that third superstar
the 3 and D role.
2. And I don't know if he is a 2. His contract says he's a 2.
Right.
I don't know if he is a 2, but now it's kind of like when you bring in a good three good offensive linemen against a mediocre one.
Yeah.
His play steps up just because it almost has to.
Right. So I got the Bucks as the number 1 as well. The number 2 seed, I have the Celtics. See, I think Boston is flying under the radar because of what Miami did in the bubble, what Milwaukee has added, what Brooklyn has went out and done, and Philadelphia going and getting Doc Rivers as their coach and some other key acquisitions. So I have Boston as my second seed.
I had Boston at 5.
Oh, wow. So who you got at 3?
At 3, I had hang on, let me look here. Philadelphia. I got Philadelphia at 3. I got Brooklyn at 4.
I also have the 76ers at 3. I'm a big fan of Joel Embiid.
I am too.
I think he's a beast when healthy. I think he's such a hard defend, especially in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were so close to beating the Raptors when the Raptors won the title.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the acquisitions they made. Seth Curry is a great 3-point shooter. He should thrive playing with.
Can he step into that JJ Redick role?
Yeah, I don't know about that. JJ Redick became a solid not go-to guy, but a solid guy to go and get a bucket, not just off of screens, flare screens, 3-point screens around the 3-point line, but also He could go and try to get a bucket at the rim. And I think J.J. Redick became a solid defender. And I don't see Seth Curry stopping anybody on defense. Danny was a good addition, but I don't even know what to expect from Danny Green. I felt like Danny Green was a bit of a disappointment for the Lakers.
Especially in the bubble.
Yeah.
But here I will defend him a little bit. He had a lot of anxiety. And there was some mental stuff that was going on there.
And that's something that none of us have any idea about is the bubble.
People's going to say, well, they had their food catered to them. And
right.
I would love to have food catered to me. But in your situation, you just got married.
Yeah.
You got 2 young, beautiful children at home. Right. They say, hey, Todd, you got to go into a bubble for 3 months and you're not going to see your new bride and your 2 young boys. And this is a crucial time for your children.
Yeah.
It's not like they're, I just think that we don't give that.
It would be hard.
And then also I would think about Danny Green missed a shot. People wanted to tell him to kill himself.
No doubt. So I got Philly as the 3 seed. There's still some rumors out there that they're going to deal for Harden. They're going to deal Simmons for Harden. But
this whole James Harden thing just irks me, man.
So 4th seed East.
4th seed, Brooklyn. I have Brooklyn falling in the 4th seed.
I do too.
And then I had Boston at 5.
You have Boston at 5.
Yeah, and I think the Kemba Walker injury early in the season is going to hurt them a little bit. I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan. Love Jaylen Brown.
See, I have the Miami Heat at 5.
Oh, wow.
And I know people are going to be like, dude, they were in the finals last year. What are you doing? I'm a big Tyler Hero fan. Don't get me wrong. I love the dude. Kentucky player, really showed out in the bubble. But like you said, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo are the superstars on the team.
Mm-hmm.
They do not require being a ball-dominant player. To go out and get a shot at the end of the game, if it's not Butler, a jump shot, it's Tyler Hero. And I don't know if I'm going to trust just yet a 20-year-old Tyler Hero to carry that much of the offensive load.
And I agree with you normally. But I think and I've used this word a lot, I think he's a dog.
He is a dog.
His mentality is so different.
Complete preseason overreaction here. I watched Miami's preseason game the other night, and Tyler Hero looked amazing. He wasn't just going out and getting his own shot. He was penetrating, coming to a jump stop, and finding an open shooter. Yeah. So
here's I want to point out a real quick key that Miami that goes under the radar has nothing to do with players.
Okay.
They signed Caron Butler as an assistant coach. He's very well known for working with young guys.
Yeah.
He's supposed to have a tremendous rapport relationship with those guys.
Right.
And that's one of the big reasons that they brought him on. Plus, he played for the Heat, and so he knows what the Heat culture is. I think that's a big hire for them, and they say that he's already got a great relationship with Nunn, Hero, those young Bam Adebayo, the young guys. I like the Heat a lot.
Okay, so 6.
I got I put the Atlanta Hawks there.
Oh, okay.
I like their moves, man. Bringing in Rondo, I think he's going to really just be a huge plus for Trae Young.
Yeah.
I like the Gallinari move, bringing him in. Bogdan obviously is going to open up things for them. Solomon Hill, Chris Nunn. They brought some good guys in.
I really like what Atlanta did.
Trae Young is just a young stud. He has a motor. He can do things that other people can't do. I like them there. I don't know if I trust their coach well enough yet. That's how you said you didn't really trust Hero.
Right.
I'm kind of iffy on their coach.
Okay.
But Rondo's a coach on the floor. And I hear that one of the reasons Rondo went there is there's supposed to be some openings maybe coaching-wise.
I think
because he has said that he wants to definitely coach.
That's got to be his post-playing career.
Oh, yeah, he'll be a coach. He'll be a head coach. He'll be a Doc Rivers type guy. So I got Atlanta at 6.
I got Indiana Pacers at 6.
Nice.
So they didn't have Sabonis in the bubble.
No.
And I think he's probably their second best player. Maybe that series with Miami is a bit different if Sabonis is playing. So I like Indiana's the makeup of their team. I put them a little bit above Atlanta because, and I have and I have Atlanta, at 7, but I have Indiana a step above because they've already built some chemistry. I feel like Trae Young's got several guys that are going to play important roles like Gallinari and Bogdanovich that you got to build chemistry with. Kind of the same thing you pointed out with Brooklyn. It might be slow at first for Atlanta. I do think they make the playoffs, but yeah, I got Indiana.
And there's not much difference between 6 and 7.
No.
I had the Raptors at 7. I love Kyle Lowry. Losing Serge, I think, will hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
There's still enough talent there with Siakam and Van Fleet and Kyrie. I like their coach. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. But
Nick Nurse.
Yeah, Nurse. So I got them at 7. I had the Pacers at 8.
And I have the Hawks at 8.
So our 6, 7, and 8 are just a little intertwined.
Yeah, we have the same teams.
And then I know that they're doing like 9 and 10, so I had the Magic as my 9th.
See, I have the Knicks just outside.
Interesting.
And it's probably more biased than anything. New York
Wildcats, right?
Yeah, the Kentucky Knicks.
Yeah, the Kentucky Knicks.
I have them at 9, and that's probably more biased than anything.
But here's the thing: in the East, the last few years in the East, teams with some really kind of crappy records have been. Now maybe with Brooklyn getting better and some of these other teams.
So here's a team that we didn't mention, and I wanted to talk about this because
the Wizards.
Yeah.
Well, I've got them written down.
I couldn't put them in.
I couldn't either.
But they have Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
They have Russell Westbrook. Is he going to be able to carry them to a playoff?
I think you're going to see Bradley Beal average 5 or 6 more points a game because of Westbrook being there. Their big guy, Bertans.
Yeah.
I think that was a good signing for them because he stretched the floor a little bit. I'm not saying he's a banger, but he can go inside if he needs to. He's not a guy that stays out on the 3-point line.
They're just not very
But I could see them right there in that play-in game area. And if Russ gets in a play-in game, man,
yeah,
and you going 100 miles an hour, and he's got
taking Russ.
I'm going Russ too. So I could see them getting in right there at the end. But I'm really high on the Hawks. I think they might even be able to get up to that 5th seed.
Oh, okay. So we move on to the West, and I think we both have the same number 1 seed here in the Western Conference.
If we don't, I'm going to take your temperature.
The Los Angeles Lakers.
That's right, baby.
The defending champs.
And just to clarify, the only reason I cheer for them is because Anthony Davis is there. I wasn't a Lakers fan. I grew up a Lakers fan. You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that.
I just want people to know.
I know. People come at your neck about that.
I know they do.
But I'm not one of those people because I appreciate the greatness of LeBron James.
Oh, me too.
Absolutely. And I like the Lakers.
Did you see what Kobe Bryant
want to win it again?
Did you see what Bryant told Pelinka in 2018?
I did not.
That he needed to do whatever he needed to make happen possible for Bryant or for the Lakers to get Anthony Davis because he was a once-in-a-generational player. And that's the only time supposedly that, because Bryant and Pelinka are big buddies, that he reached out to him and said, hey, you need to do this.
Well, turned out to be a great move. So you also think the Lakers are the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing?
Oh, yeah. I think I'll take the Lakers and I'll give you the entire field.
I think they did such a good job.
They got better. They got better.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't, you know what? And I don't want to hear this crap about until I see with my own eyes LeBron James take a step backwards. We're not talking about it on this show. Don't call in. Don't tweet it. Don't say nothing. Okay? Because he is not taking a step back. Tom Brady fell off the cliff. That's a different sport, but he did. LeBron maybe have gotten better. LeBron said the other day, if I need to lead the league in assists this year, if that's what my team needs, that's what I'll do. Okay, thanks.
Number 2 seed.
I'm going with the Nuggets.
Same.
I'm a big Jamal Murray fan. And I think a key acquisition for them was JaMychal Green. Left the Clippers. I think that's going to hurt the Clippers a little bit. I think he will get a little more playing time in Denver, which will help them. Obviously, the Joker's, a stud. Now, losing Jeremy Grant hurts, and he had a big bubble, and I think he'll play well in Detroit.
So, losing Jeremy Grant did hurt. What I think makes up for Jeremy Grant leaving, Michael Porter Jr. takes the next step. Bol is actually on the squad and getting playing time off the bench. And I'll tell you what, I got to give a shout out to a guy they picked up. 29-year-old rookie out of Argentina who I've seen play in Olympic basketball and also in World Cup basketball. His last name is Campazzo. He's a point guard. He's only probably about 5'10". That's stretching it. But I'm telling you, Campazzo actually means magician in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
And this dude is one of the best passers that I've ever watched play the game. Now, maybe it doesn't translate to the NBA game. I mean, Milos Teodosic is a guy. I don't know if anybody's familiar. I'll keep up with a lot of Spanish league.
You brought that up. I want to interrupt you for a second and then go right back to you. Remember the name Killian Hayes?
Killian Hayes,
point guard for Detroit, little French point guard that they drafted.
Yeah.
He's going to start from day one with
right.
D Rose as the 2 guard. This kid can fill it up.
Okay, so back to Campazzo. He played,
and it means magician.
It means magician in Spanish.
That's
cool.
And
he's played with Argentina. He actually.
How old is he?
He's 29 year old
rookie.
That's
right. You said that. My bad.
I've thought it's overdue that he's in the NBA.
Should have already been here then.
But I was the same way when the Clippers signed Milos Teodosic, and he was a phenomenal passer in the World Cup. And then he came to the NBA, couldn't guard a soul, got exposed every time he was on the court, and he didn't make it. He's still doing well over in Europe, but Teodosic turned out not to be that great in the NBA. I'm hoping Campazzo, it's different for him. He made a nice steal the other night and threw from half court a one bounce with backspin to a guy for a dunk. And it was one of the nastiest passes I've ever seen.
Yeah. Awesome.
So number 3 seed, who you got?
Number 3 for me, I'm going to go with the Mavs.
Oh, wow.
And here's why.
That's a huge jump for the Mavs.
It is. And it's probably out of realm, to be honest with you, because Kristaps not going to come back for a while.
Right.
I think but he's coming back in January.
Yeah.
So it's not like, where he's going to miss a lot of games.
Yeah.
I think Luka will be the MVP of the league.
Ooh.
I'm going to go ahead and call that, and not because what ESPN said. I do my own.
Yeah.
Luka is unbelievable. I mean, when I watched the bubble game,
a lot of guys are picking him to be MVP.
And me and Garrett and Griff was watching the night that he hit the winning shot.
Right.
And it just he even though he has the ball in his hands, he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands.
He's a great.
He's
player.
Not James Harden. He's not Russ Westbrook. I love him. I think I got the Jazz and them right there. I've got the Clippers at 5, just so you know. I've got them down.
I got the Jazz at 3.
Okay, I've got the Mavs at 3, the Jazz at 4.
Okay. My 4 is the LA Clippers. I still like the combination of Leonard and George. Now, I didn't put them at 3. I have the Jazz at 3, and that is because I feel like you'll see Leonard and George take some nights off.
Oh, for sure. They're gonna load manage, no doubt about it.
You hate to see that, and the NBA is trying to do some things about that, but
which I like. I like that they're doing that.
So
I just don't buy into the Clippers, man. I think they bowed out in the second round because they just weren't as good as the Nuggets.
They look.
I hate to say this because I think that LeBron won the championship.
Yeah.
Instead of Ty Lue as the coach. I really do. I don't give Ty Lue any credit at all for that. That's me. I'm not saying that he doesn't. He deserves a little. So I'm not sold as on him as being the coach of the Clippers, and that he's supposed to be the guy that's going to bring in the personalities of Paul and Kawhi. Now, I did like seeing Kawhi and Jimmy Kimmel last night, called a different side of him. He was laughing, telling some jokes, but I think there's a little bit of lack of chemistry in that locker room because of how much George, like Kendrick Perkins said yesterday that, Kawhi lives in San Diego. He flies back and forth, kind of like what Kobe did. He has a helicopter and he's late to practices a lot. Nobody says anything. The reason the Lakers won is because your leaders, LeBron and AD, work harder than anybody.
Right.
And I'm not saying Kawhi and Paul George don't work hard, but you've never ever read about AD being late to practice or LeBron being late to practice. If LeBron showed up late to practice because he was at his school helping some kids, nobody would say a word. But
they're
because
different leaders than
right,
LeBron and
so
AD.
I don't buy into the Clippers, man. I got them at 5.
Okay, well, you have the Clippers at 5. I have the Mavericks at 5. Maybe I'm underrating them a little bit, but I just think Luka is missing that wing player on his team to take him to that.
And put an asterisk by that because I'm going high on them.
Right. All right. So 6. Who you got?
6. I got the Blazers.
That's who I have, and
I like their off-season moves.
And I wanted to put the Blazers ahead of the Mavs.
I did,
but I feel like Luka's just going to have one of those special seasons. Now, if in the playoffs, it's a different story. It's Dame time.
Yeah.
And maybe the Blazers are more dangerous in the playoffs.
But are they though? I'm glad you
know.
said that because they got swept by AD.
Right.
And then last year they won the first game against the Lakers, and then it was a gentleman's sweep, which is a 5. Fell off. So I love Dame, and I think he is a legit all-star, top 15 player in the league. I love that they brought, they got Robert Covington. They got Derrick Jones on a 2-year deal. Melo's back on a 1-year deal. They just signed Harry Giles. He made the roster.
And Harry Giles has been playing like another preseason overreaction.
Enes Kanter is, back with them, which
and
I
love
some
Nurkic.
Success.
I love Nurkic.
He's going to be healthy.
Right.
I could see them. They're between 3 and 8.
Right.
I really do think the Lakers and the Nuggets.
So both of us have the Blazers at 6.
Right.
Blazers Mavs is who the matchup you would have. Blazers Jazz would be the matchup I have.
Right.
And I see the Blazers competing in both those series.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the Lakers and the Nuggets are kind of the cream of the crop.
Right.
And then I think 3 through 8, maybe 9, you could, you might be separated by 4 or 5 games.
All right, 7.
7, I'm going with the Phoenix Suns.
Nice.
I'm a big CP3 fan. I love Devin Booker. I think if DeAndre Ayton can take another step, and I think he will with CP3 being there, I think Devin Booker may lead the league. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
May lead the league in scoring.
Oh,
I think he did 27, 28 a game. I think it's his career average. CP3 is going to get this guy a lot more open looks, man.
Yeah, and he's going to get – I think he's going to DeAndre Ayton's going to be a much better player with
Absolutely,
Chris Paul.
I totally agree. Their starting 5's a pretty good solid 5.
I also have the Suns at 7. Now, I have a bet with a good friend of mine, Devin Carpenter. I hope he's listening or will listen. So he bet me last year that New Orleans would make the playoffs.
Okay.
And I said they wouldn't. He lost that bet. So to be fair, because it was a COVID-shortened season, they were in the bubble, I said, you pick a team, I'll pick a team. Whoever finishes higher wins the bet. Double or nothing. I'm out nothing if I lose. But I took the Phoenix Suns. He took the New Orleans Pelicans. That was the deal that we made. Both of us have the Phoenix Suns finishing higher than the Pelicans. So, Devin, your time is ticking, bro. Come off of that pocket.
I love it.
All right. Who you got? 8 seed.
8 seed is tough for me because I think the Pelicans could be there. I think the Warriors could be there. Obviously, if Clay's playing, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But
I'll go ahead and tell you I have Golden State Warriors at 8. And the more I see the Golden State Warriors in the preseason, I was like, because I decided they were the 8th seed a week ago. The more I see of the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry, I'm thinking I screwed up because
it should be higher.
Yeah, because it's Steph Curry, man. So I got the Warriors at 8. Man, that Warriors-Lakers series to start off the playoffs.
I'm probably going to go with the Warriors at 8, but I'm intrigued.
You want the Rockets.
The Kentucky Wildcat, John Wall, Biggie Cousin fan in me. I think that's going to be a dynamic duo, regardless of what happens to Harden.
Yeah.
If you've watched the Rockets, even when Harden played the other night, John Wall brought the ball up the floor.
Yeah.
So Coach Silas is changing things up a little bit.
You're going with the Warriors, but you want to go with the Rockets.
I'm going to go with the Warriors, and I'm going to say that the Rockets get in the play-in game.
Yeah, I'm biased just as you are. I want to see John Wall.
I'm not a Zion He's going to be a very good player.
Yeah.
But like I read somebody today, it said it was about the All-Star game and said, well, Zion's automatically going to be there, make room. Seriously? I don't know that he's automatically in the Western Conference All-Star team.
I
mean, if the popular vote probably is going to do it.
Yeah.
But in the NBA, they take threes.
Right.
Your players, your coaches, and, the fans. I love Brandon Ingram. I do like Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy's a coach. I think they'll be tremendously improved defensively.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like their starting five. When they added Steven Adams, I was like, this kind of solidifies their starting five. You got Ball and Hart in the backcourt. Then you got Ingram, Williamson, and Adams. And then you got Bledsoe coming off the bench.
And that might be the perfect role for him,
I like their starting five. I just feel that the last three in the playoffs for me, Blazers, Suns, Warriors, they just have more firepower.
I agree.
In terms of game-changing players. Like, the Blazers have Dame. They got McCollum.
CJ McCollum.
They have Nurkic, who proved to be a really good offensive player.
Suns.
And then the Suns have CP3, Booker, and Ayton. And the Warriors have Steph Curry, the former MVP, best shooter of all time. So I can't.
I still go with Ray Allen.
You still go with Ray Allen?
That old school comes out too much.
All right. So let's move on because we have to cover UK basketball here. A lot of people want to hear from you in terms of UK basketball. So let's first review the game with Notre Dame. First half was
atrocious.
Yeah, the same old song and dance that we've seen.
I was shocked. I really, truly was.
It was bad.
Especially that they've never done that after a Coach Cal week or Camp Cal. They've never done that. They've always improved. But that's why you play two halves. You know, I mean, and what's crazy is his first half was.
Yep.
It was a flip in the second half, and I got to point this out. I went back and watched it when Kentucky cut it to 15. I think it was 70 or something. It was 63-48 or 53-38. I think.
Okay.
They went 8 trips where they went down and stopped. Notre Dame didn't score until the 8th trip. So Kentucky had 7 opportunities where they could have cut it into 15. Lead. Playing very good defense. Now, I got into a debate with a guy the other day that told me that Notre Dame only played 7 guys in the second half and that they were tired. And that's why the reason that they were tired is because Kentucky's defense went up about 10 notches.
It did.
It's much easier when you're up 20 points. I mean, Kentucky was playing better offensively down 20 than they were earlier in the game, and which is a sign of things that I think will get better, because if you can come down 20 and make the extra passes and do the things on offense that you need to do in that atmosphere where you're kind of a little tighter, and they made that run in those 7 trips. They had 3 3-pointers that just missed. I mean, Mintz just missed one from the wing. Sarr missed a shot inside the lane that just fell out.
Right.
On the 8th trip, they went down. The reason I bring that up is you make one basket in those 7 trips, you win the game.
Right.
You win the game.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't like we were taking bad shots. They weren't bad shots. They moved the ball. They were high fundamental, good looks at the basket.
They weren't bad looks. My only thing is, I don't know if it's a good look if we shoot a 3. I mean, it's getting to the point where
you're right.
A kick out for a wide open 3, that's good basketball, especially in today's game. But man, it's not going to be very successful for this team. So first half, atrocious, like you said. Second half, first let's cover some shout outs here. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your son, Garrett Appleman, let's shout him out. He commented.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Augusta great Brent Bach, he commented.
Oh, the rifle.
Nolan Time comments, how do you think Zach Taylor's drafts have gone? Logan Wilson has been okay, right?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow was phenomenal.
They drafted Jonah Williams.
Jonah Williams is –
I think the jury's still out, but I think if if you bring in Sewell next year, put him next to Sewell. I love Trey.
They still
Hopkins.
have so much work to do, though.
Yeah,
than just drafting Sewell.
Oh no, I would definitely. I would give him probably a C right now on his
drafts.
Yeah.
I'd give him a B just because we have Joe Burrow. Okay, so moving on. UK basketball.
Wait a minute. No, you can't give him a letter grade because of that. Any dummy could have picked Joe
That's
Burrow.
true. That's true.
I mean, he'd have been dumb not to take him.
Yeah. Well, he'd been dumb, but Chase Young would have been a good draft pick for us.
He's generational.
So we got to move on here. Second half against Notre Dame, much better.
Absolutely.
Energy was up. Playing hard
Played
defense.
with passion.
Playing with desperation. Like, we don't want to lose.
And that's why I brought up down 20, play with desperation. We had 6 turnovers in the first 3 minutes and 45 seconds of the game. We had 11 for the entire game.
Yeah.
So that means for 17 minutes in the second or 16 minutes in the rest of the first half, for 36 minutes of that game, we had 5 turnovers, while for much of that game we were down an enormous amount of points.
Right. So the second half, do you think that carries over?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I know this, and I think it might be true. It's really, really hard to start with that desperation at the beginning of the ball game.
Oh,
only special teams can do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they have to really turn it up to that desperation level at the beginning, but they have to play hard. They have to play hard.
That's what I was so disappointed in. It was the effort level in the first half. I'm never going to say a kid doesn't play or isn't giving me his all.
Right.
There's a difference between going hard and giving me your all,
right.
I think.
Yeah.
I just didn't think they were giving me their all.
Well, I mean, some of the body language when a guy makes a mistake is not the body language that you want to see if you're a passionate fan.
I also think when we made that great comeback and went on the 12-0 run, that if there's fans in the stands, we win the game.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the fans.
Because think about it. When Clark hits the 3 the one time, he turns around maybe with his hand up in the air, getting the fans going. Mike Bray has to call a timeout because he can't even hear himself think.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I took out of the game that I want to give myself a pat on the back here, Clark at the point.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Clark's got to be the point guard.
Yeah.
I like Mintz at the 2.
When Mintz is on the floor, UK outscores their opponents by 14.3 points, 100 possessions, every 100 possessions.
Well, I mean, and that's another thing we got to go over. All right. I know you don't like to be that critical of X's and O's with coaches, especially coaches at that level. We obviously don't know what they know. But the substitution asks you for Mintz on the last possession, and then the decision to run Boston off of a screen to get him
I didn't
off
understand.
of a curl in the lane.
I didn't understand why we were going to Boston there in that situation.
I've been kind of disappointed in Boston, and I felt when Boston was recruited and when he signed, I felt like Boston reminded me a lot of Malik Monk. But now I'm like, not even close. And Monk hasn't even proved to be, he's a great player and an awesome college player, but maybe he could have used another year of college.
Well, there's no doubt about it.
But
going into that timeout, I would have bet everything I had that we would have posted up at Sar and then would have kicked somebody, which why I would have liked to have Mintz still in the game.
Right.
Or Clark going to the basket, kicking Sar out maybe to that mid-range jumper that he is good at.
Yeah.
I didn't understand rolling off Boston.
Maybe they
it was
were trying to surprise.
Maybe it was a thing where they were saying if he comes off, he gets that, he makes that shot, it elevates his confidence. I don't know. I know Cal plays a lot of mental games with his players. So
Corey Moore comments.
What's he got?
TJ Warren going to be a problem for Indiana. Underrated. I like TJ Warren.
He's a good player. There's no doubt about it, for sure.
In Indiana, I have them ranked.
You know why I didn't put him higher? I don't know about Victor.
Oladipo,
I don't know if he's bought in. He didn't get to play after the injury as much. He was a little off in the bubble. If Victor Oladipo comes back and he's Victor, Victor was on The Masked Singer. Did you know that?
No.
And I'm a huge Masked Singer fan, and we're going to talk about that one of these times.
Okay. I've got to study up then.
Oh, yeah, for
I've
sure.
never watched it.
He was on the Masked Singer, and when he had his knee injury, the reason I bring that up is because he really took a lot of extra time. He didn't force himself back from the knee.
Okay.
And that's when he was able to be on that show. If Victor can come back and be a little bit more of what he was when he was an all-star before the injury, and I like Indiana a little bit more.
Okay, so back to UK.
Yeah.
Analyze the UNC game on tomorrow. What do you think about it, North Carolina? Are they? I saw him play Iowa, and quite honestly, I was kind of impressed because
I was too.
Iowa shot the lights out that night. They could not miss, and North Carolina kind of hung with them until about a minute to go.
I don't know as much about North Carolina as I would in years past. And to be honest with you, I thought we were playing UCLA.
Yeah,
up until we were supposed to.
Yeah, we were
Wednesday, Thursday.
It changed
because of COVID
protocols,
and I guess the SEC and ACC has lined up more with the way they test.
Yeah.
So, I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, "Well, man, Kentucky's at a real disadvantage." I said, "Well, North Carolina's with the same disadvantage. They were supposed to play Ohio State."
Yeah.
But here's the difference: Cal doesn't do on Monday and Tuesday, he's not running offenses and defenses that we're going to run against the opponent on Saturday. He's still doing a lot of the individual team stuff.
Well, you have to with 5 18-year-olds.
Well, yeah, with that group. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm probably never, ever going to pick against the Cats. So if that's the game this week, I'm going with the Cats. I think if we were going to Chapel Hill, I think Carolina wins, even without a lot of fans
this
there.
This game's in Cleveland,
This is in Cleveland. We're not taking a bus. I'm sure you saw that little, Cal thought Atlanta was 4 hours away instead of 6.
Right.
They're going to fly. They're going to be rested. Devin Askew said he felt like he had been beat up when they played Georgia Tech from that trip. So I think that's going to be that's going to help. I think another week of Camp Cal helps.
Yep.
I think Terrence Clark is going to the offense. The team that needs the most efficient offense that Kentucky has from a number standpoint is Davion Mintz, Mintz, Devin Askew, Terrence Clark, Isaiah Jackson, and Olivia Arsaar. Now, a lot of people say,
I think that's their best.
Arsaar and Jackson can't be on the floor together. Bullshit.
Yeah, they can.
Bull crap, excuse me. The reason they can be is they're not I don't need Jackson. Jackson don't need the ball in his hands.
No.
He's not. They're not going to run him, and they're not going to post him up. He's going to be our Willie Cauley-Stein
slasher,
rim to rim slasher, coming in, getting follow ups
in the dunk spot.
Mintz and Jackson and Clark together are the most efficient 3 of the team. I didn't do that. I read these numbers. I just copied them. Somebody thanks to the guy that did it. Mintz and Toppin and Boston, but they're the worst 3 together.
Who is it?
Mintz, Toppin, and BJ Boston. Them 3 together, it doesn't matter who else is with them. When them 3 are together, they're the worst efficiently on the floor. So, with that said, Camp Cal was solid this week from everything I've heard. They're supposed to be shooting better. I'm going to pick the Cats to beat Carolina. And again, I just watched Carolina a little bit, so I can't.
Let's get into the predictions then.
Okay, excellent.
Our college basketball picks this week.
And what was we last week?
Funny you say that. Last week we had 6 games, and you, Mike, were 4-2. I was 1-5. I've got to do a little bit better.
What were my 2 losses?
Your 2 losses.
Because one of them was the heartbreaker, I believe, if I'm thinking right.
Your 2 losses were. Sorry.
Did y'all see the tubby sauce?
Look at that. You use a little bit too much tubby sauce. Mike, you lost Kentucky.
All right. Well, obviously.
And Utah.
Oh,
Utah against BYU. So did I. So this week we got 6 games, 6 good ones. Excellent. 6 good games. The biggest game of the day, the biggest game for us is North Carolina, Kentucky. It's Blue Bloods. But as in terms of rankings, Gonzaga and Iowa play in South Dakota. Gonzaga's -3.5 against Iowa.
Ooh, I'm taking the Hawkeyes.
I'm taking Iowa.
Yes,
and
sir.
I like Garza. I love Garza.
Yeah.
And those guards can shoot it.
Yeah.
But I'm taking the Zags because I like that dude Timmy on the inside.
Yeah, he could play.
So
Fuse,
I'm taking
Fuse
the
can
Zags.
coach, man. There's no doubt about it. Mark Few can flat out coach, and you don't hear him. Why are they successful? When how many McDonald's All-Americans go to Gonzaga?
Well, they got the best one this year, but
I mean,
right.
you know, normally they're Burger King
yeah, normally they are.
All-Americans.
All right. Speaking of Burger King, actually not. Indiana and Butler play at Bankers Life Fieldhouse.
I gotta go see.
That's the first game of the day. It's at like 11 or 11:30 a.m. The Hoosiers are -7. They're favored by 7 points against Butler.
Really?
Actually, I saw today, and I'm not familiar with Butler's team.
The Butler played Villanova the other night, didn't they? They think
Yeah,
Villanova.
maybe.
Jay Wright got his 600th win.
Maybe.
I believe so.
Butler had a key transfer that was actually deemed ineligible today. I don't know if that affects their team or not, but I saw it on Twitter. So you got Hoosiers -7.
I think the Hoosiers will win. I don't know if they cover the spread.
All right.
So I'm going to go with the
Butler
Bulldogs of Butler.
All right. I'm going to go with Indiana. I don't know much about either team, but I'm just going against you. So,
that didn't work.
I'm trying to make up some ground.
That didn't work last week.
I'm trying to make up some ground here. Louisville at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's -4. Wisconsin's in the top 25. I think they're pretty high. Actually.
Yeah, they. I'm going to go with the Badgers.
You're going to go with the Badgers?
Yeah, and I don't like Louisville anyway.
I don't either. I'm going with Wisconsin because I don't like Louisville. But I do
love, hey, the way our strategy of picking these games.
Yeah, stick with us. If you want to win a lot of money, make a Bovada account.
Yes.
Deposit some money in Indonesia. Put it into your account. Get you a Bitcoin wallet. Bet on these games. Do a 6-game parlay. You might win a lot of money.
The Mad Mike and A-Town Toby 6-game parlay.
That's right.
But it's a Stone Cold Lock.
Okay, UCLA, Ohio State. That's the other Champions Classic.
Well, I don't like Mick Cronin at all.
Ohio State's -1. So basically a pick.
I'm going to take the Buckeyes. I can't stand Mick Cronin. I think he has little man syndrome.
Ooh.
I've never been a fan. I think he's highly overrated. I think he'll be out of UCLA within the next 3 years.
They're probably hoping so.
Well, yeah, that's a terrible hire.
I mean,
but
it just
I don't
didn't
care if he was playing Thomas More.
Yeah, you're picking Thomas More.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't feel like Mick Cronin was a UCLA coach. Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's
nothing against Mick Cronin.
John Wooden flipped in his grave.
I'm taking Ohio State as well.
Good. Go Buckeyes.
Cincinnati and at Georgia. It's a pick. Cincinnati at Georgia.
Man, I'm going to go with this is tough for me because I cannot stand Georgia's coach.
Yeah. Kentucky fans hate him.
What's his last name?
I don't even.
Tom Crean.
Yeah.
And this guy hangs out with the Harbaughs, and I don't like the Harbaughs either.
Right.
So I'm not a UC fan. Stephen Pete, I'm sorry. I just don't like your Bearcats. But I do like John Brandon a little bit.
I think
he can coach. I thought he was wonderful at NKU. If I was going from NKU to somewhere, I wouldn't have went across the river to UC.
Yeah.
I would have probably tried to get the Xavier job or just stayed at NKU.
Right.
But with that being said, I'm going to go with the Bearcats.
I'm going with the Bearcats as well. Give the Bearcats some respect. I mean, I'm tired of it. They're not even given any consideration in terms of the college football playoff. I hate it.
And I love
they're
their
a
coach.
good team.
Their football coach came from the Buckeyes.
If you've ever watched college football, and you are an avid watcher of college football, you see UC play, you're saying that's a good football team.
Yes,
they got talent. They're fast. They're ferocious. I mean,
they're fundamentally sound.
Give them some credit. So I'm taking the Bearcats in basketball because I'm tired of the disrespect
in football.
I
gotta love that logic.
Yeah. So UNC Kentucky Tar Heels are favored by 3.
Oh,
but you're taking the Cats.
Absolutely, Cats by 6.
I'm trying to make up some ground, so I'm taking the Tar Heels. And I know
the screen did not freeze.
I'm taking the Tar Heels. Shout out Jason Jefferson. Shout out Chan Graham. I'm rolling with you all. Shout out Robert Myrick.
Hey, Ron Rout.
I'm rolling with.
Oh no, Ron Rout's a Michigan fan. My bad. Right. That's right. My bad.
Why
TR.
you doing TR like that?
Golly, I just threw you straight underneath that Wolverine bus, didn't I?
All right.
Oh, Whitney Stickland's. Hey, Whitney, you're going down. Hate the Tar Heels.
Oh yeah, that's right. Shout out Whitney. I'm with you this weekend.
Oh, man.
All right, so
blows me away.
I'm finishing with a little story here.
Excellent.
So today and December 21st marks an important date in Augusta history that a lot of people are not familiar with.
Okay.
Cool. This is something that I researched several years ago, stumbled upon in a Google rabbit hole, and I really like this story. So listen up. Harmon Blennerhassett. He was an Irish-born aristocrat and lawyer who lived in England. He moved to America after his family disowned him for marrying his cousin after being sent to rescue her from the French Revolution.
So he was sent to rescue his cousin. He rescued her.
Ended up marrying her.
Damn. Savage.
Yeah. So he and his wife, or cousin, bought an island in the Ohio River near Parkersburg, West Virginia. We're all familiar where that's
Absolutely.
at. Aaron Burr.
The famous trader?
Yes. Learned of the wealthy aristocrats' move to the island. He visited Blennerhassett seeking financial and political favors. Blennerhassett jumped fully into Burr's plan to create a super Western world, which included removing Thomas Jefferson from the White House. So they're on this mission to create a coup and unseat Thomas Jefferson by any means necessary. To create a super Western world. After Thomas Jefferson had learned of the plot, Blennerhassett's secret camp in Marietta, Georgia, was destroyed on this date, on tomorrow's date, December 19th, 1806. And Blennerhassett fled his island in Ohio with 50 other people that were on his island with him. So he flees on December 19th, 1806, from his camp and island. He then makes a mysterious pit stop on the Ohio River via vessel on December 21st, the winter solstice, in Augusta, Kentucky.
Nice.
1806.
Nice.
That's not the end. That's actually where this story gets really weird and poses more questions beyond anyone's wildest imagination. While building his home on Riverside Drive in 1792, General John Payne discovered over 100 ancient human skeletal remains. The skeletons were of unusually tall ancients. Payne says some were 7 feet in height, quoted as saying some of the tall ancient skeletal remains were over 7 feet in height. Wow. His friend, David Kilger, was a very tall and large man, and one skeleton was 10 to 12 inches taller than he, and the jawbone could have slipped over his entire